Hello. Welcome to a ChatGPT 3.5 adventure. What I've been doing is playing a lot with different kinds of prompts to give ChatGPT in order to help my clients revise their resumes for different job descriptions using AI as a tool in the process. A little bit about working with me. Normally, when I write a resume for someone, I will also provide a step-by-step process on how to adapt it for different job descriptions. This is extremely important because most recruiters use something called an applicant tracking system, or ATS, which they configure to align with the job description in order to parse resumes and prioritize candidates that really align well with the job description. So what you want to do is make sure you're using keywords from the job description in your resume and demonstrating that you have the key skills in the resume. Also a good idea to omit skills that are not relevant to the resume, the job description, sorry, to show the recruiter you have what they need. So what I'm going to do today is show you a process that I used with ChatGPT to adjust a client's resume for a different job description. We'll see how it comes out. Every single time I feed data into this thing, it gives me a different output, so that's kind of fun. I definitely recommend that you read the job description and read your resume at the end and make sure you think things align. But I think a robot's perspective is kind of cool because the ATS is also a robot. So I don't know, in my mind, robots get robots. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. So let's go ahead and do this. It'll be fun either way. And I'm sure you might pick up some tips along the way. So here we go. The first thing, the prompt I'm going to give ChatGPT, and again, I'm using ChatGPT 3.5. I am telling it this: I'm going to give you a job description. I want you to pretend you're a hiring manager recruiting for this role. I want you to answer every question from the perspective of a hiring manager recruiting for this role. Answer with only okay if you understand me. The reason I am redundant here is because I really want to emphasize that ChatGPT is performing as a hiring manager right now. And I'm setting expectations by saying I'm going to give you a job description. Sometimes doing these little things can help us get a more accurate result. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. Okay, good. We're on the same page. So it answered okay because I told it to answer okay if it understands me. So it sounds like it does. So the next step, I am going to paste in the job description. So here we go. And okay. So it's just telling me a little bit about the core responsibilities for this role and how it understands things, the tools that you should know, those kind of things. Okay, great. All right, so far so good. Fingers crossed. Now, coming back, my second prompt, what keywords would you use to set up an ATS for this role? Give me a list of the keywords you would use for the ATS with one on each line. Answer every question from the perspective of a hiring manager recruiting for this role. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just reinforcing what it is I want. And the reason I was very specific with one on each line is because ChatGPT can get crazy. Sometimes it uses commas, sometimes it uses a list, sometimes it gives you full descriptions. So I want just one per line because I might want to paste these into the skills section in the resume. So let's see what it says. Great. Cool. Okay. So it's giving me some good keywords for this role. So what I'm going to do then is just come here to this demo resume that I'm using, and I'm going to just paste these in, and look how simple that is. Now, no, I'm not going to do operations because we said product operations management. But I set up a, what is it called? A macro in Word because I do this so often. But what I'm doing is pasting without formatting. If you do that, it makes it much, much easier to paste things in the same style as your resume. I'm just combining a few things to give me a little more space here because it did give me more keywords than, here we go. It gave me way more keywords than I have space for. So let's see, and then we'll go back and check. We only have space for 4 on each line, column, I mean. So let's see. Collaboration is probably a big one. Maybe I'll replace beta program. Or actually here, why don't we do communication and written and oral communication, that's fine. Collaboration. Customer service is probably pretty important. I think I'm gonna customer success service. We could do that. Project management. I'm gonna replace that, I think. Process optimization, business systems, product development. I think I want to do project management there. And attention to detail. It says detail oriented. This is it had given me a summary earlier, so we'll see if it comes up with a similar summary this time. I'm just adjusting these bullets to space a little more nicely. Okay, great. So now that we have some keywords, let's go back to our prompts. And I just wanted to dig a little deeper because I think, you know, you may want to make some more manual changes to your resume that it eventually knocks out for you, which we'll get to in a second. So right now it's generating what soft skills we would like, the recruiter would like us to have. And you can see I asked it the question over here. Let me maximize this. I asked it the question here: as a hiring manager recruiting for this role, the ideal candidate should possess these certain soft skills. Okay, and I'm just going to ask it again, what technical skills? So, you know, certain business systems, whatever, agile, A/B testing, whatever. Okay, great. So next, now is the fun. Here is my resume. What changes should I make to this resume to show that I am the perfect candidate for this role? So let's just paste that in and see what it says. So now it's telling me update the resume objectives. So that's the summary, not the objective. So it kind of says the same thing every time. Oh, it's giving me an example already. That's fun. Well, let's go ahead and just ask it directly. Oh, I want to know what information should be removed from the resume for this role. That's something I'm interested in. So pandemic and sabbatical break, Spider, active sports, and Sherpani. Some of the certificates, it's telling me I should omit. Okay, great. So I would love for it to cut out a bunch of the work for me. So let's see, I'm going to tell it, using the information you know about me from my resume and the job description, revise the title, summary, and skills sections to better align me with the job description. You can rewrite, omit, combine, transform, or change sentences, but do not fabricate information. Use only the information in my resume that aligns with the job description. Synonyms are fine. Omit irrelevant information. So let's see with those very specific. Oops. Hold on. We got more pasting to do. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. We're just going to give it this because we've already given it the resume. So let's see what it does. Okay. Title looks good. It's giving me kind of a longer summary than it did last time. Here's the skills it thinks that we should use. Okay. Interesting. So it's a little bit different, but these are kind of nice. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it kind of sums things up nicely. So why don't we use these instead? Sorry, wrong resume. That was the original. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and use these instead, just for fun? Let's see, is customer-centric product development. Okay, we're gonna have to make some more space for that one soon. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put this over here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. it's giving us more than 4, but that's okay. We're gonna put that here. Customer relationship management, project management, agile methodologies, attention to detail, and problem solving. There we go. Look at that. So anyway, that's one set of keywords that you could choose that it says would be good. Now the next thing is to go in here and ask it to do your experience section. So we're just going to pretty much prompt it the exact same thing and see what it comes up with for the experience section. Okay. And you'll notice that it took out the Spider and Sherpani, and it also took out the sabbatical. Now, knowing what I know as a resume writer, don't want to remove the sabbatical information because otherwise the recruiter will be sitting there wondering, well, what was this person doing during the sabbatical? Hang on, I want to make that a little closer so that we have that. Okay. And also what I wanted to do was put a note down here that this person had early career success as a senior key account coordinator at Spider. So I didn't want to completely remove that because I wanted them to know that her work history goes back longer than just what's shown here. And I think that's important. The other thing it didn't talk about was her promotions, and I thought that was important, so I left that in. So anyway, overall though, it's pretty interesting how it revises the sections, you know, comes up with bullets for it, and we can look at these and see if they're well aligned with the job description, but I bet they are. Okay, so, you know, and again, you do have to read this though to be sure that the robot is not just completely making things up, because that does happen. So one thing I want to know is what questions would it ask me to elicit more information? Okay. So optimizing systems, this is great. So these questions can be very helpful to showing you where you could elaborate on information in your resume for this specific job description in order to make it more compelling for the applicant tracking system and ultimately for the human being that's going to be looking at your resume. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. I am saying on a scale of 1 to 10, now that I've revised this, how do you see me being aligned with this job description? Let's see what it says. So right now it's giving an 8 to 10, 8 out of 10, which is pretty cool because then we can say, oh, interesting. So I'm only an 8 out of 10. So what would make it a 10 out of 10? And it's giving me suggestions on how to make it a 10 out of 10, which is great. And then my next question is, after I implement those changes, what do you think of this? Would it make it a higher score? And, you know, maybe it's not possible to be a 10 out of 10 because, for example, this job description is asking for a few skills that this client doesn't have. But I think anything over an 8 out of 10 means you should definitely apply for this job. But with the changes that I made to the next iteration of this resume, it gave me a 9 out of 10, which I'm very happy with because like I said, there's a few things that this client just doesn't have, and that's fine. The idea generally is that if you can meet 75% of the job description's requirements, then you should apply for the job. So anyway, that's kind of it. Now I've revised the resume for this specific job description. Those are all the prompts that I used. And our next step, now that we're very excited about, is we're going to take this mostly AI-driven resume and apply for a job to see what happens. And I'm pretty optimistic that this client is going to get an interview based on this resume. And what I really like about it, actually, so you'll notice I made a few changes. I just got back from a resume writing symposium and I got a fire under my butt to make these resumes even better. And a few things I learned was how to better use color and that kind of thing. So what I did was I used a little bit of a dark blue just to call out the job description titles. And I also bolded the first parts of every bullet to make things stand out a little more, to make this resume easier to read. We have 534 words in one page, which is probably the limit of the number of words I would suggest in one page. But I think this resume is pretty good, and I'm very excited to apply for this job with my client for this role. So anyway, I hope this was helpful in showing you how you can use ChatGPT to apply for jobs. And I do have a blog post written on Medium that includes these prompts to help you with your own exploration. So best wishes. I hope this helped. Take care.